YouTube, Predaplant is here and it is top tier. Hello YouTube, my name is Sean Matrai and I'm going to teach you how to play Predaplant today. Now, good news for you guys, tonight, Cog Climb, should be around 7:30 EST. We're going to be learning more of the deck together and I'll help you with learning the deck as well. So, if you want to see more Predaplant action, make sure you're there, 7:30 EST. We're going to climb to gain games with this deck, so don't miss it. Alright, anyway, on to the deck list of what I was playing, okay? So, Predaplant is a little bit tricky to play, but once you understand the bread and butter, you can expand it to so many different lines and a lot of different cool plays that you can do. Some of it is a little bit freestyle as well. You won't see lines until you actually go deeper into the combos. So, yeah, let's get on to the deck list. Alright, so we're playing 3 copies of Predaplant Ortho Scorpio. This card is very, very good. If you don't have 3, play 2. 2 you'll be fine with. So, definitely 2 could be on the free-to-play side. So, if you don't have 3, play 2 of them. So, you'll be okay. If you do have 3, I highly recommend you play 3. The reason why is that way, if you open it, it gives you more options to search things like your Hydra or searching Predator Practice for more advantage. It's also really good if you run 2 of it, just shorten the build down. Maybe run like 2 Climicidu. You could run 3 Bib Lisps. Just run it in like a smaller build of the deck, and yeah. So you could run just Predaplant, but just run a smaller version of the deck. That's all. But other than that, you can run this at 30 because there's a lot of cards you want to put in this deck. So I think this deck can be really good at 30 cards. But like I said before, if you only have 2 of them, just run a small build. That's all. But other than that, yeah, you definitely want to play 3. So on summon, he summons 1 out of the deck. Any Predaplant by sending 1 monster from hand to the graveyard. So this is really, really good because this will allow you to gain access to your Darling Cobra mainly with this. There are times that you can summon Chlamydia, I call it, Klima, out of the deck as well to take their monster. So keep that in mind, and then when you take their monster as a Predator counter, it will become a dark. So keep that in mind, and then you can easily gain access to making like Chimera Ruflasia, sometimes even Drago, and Starving Venom. So, yeah. Next, we're playing 2 copies of Darling Tornado Cobra. The reason why is if you draw one, it kind of stinks. There are ways to get it out of... you really want to run 2, because if you draw the 1 in hand, like I said, it kind of stinks. For the most part, it's harder to get the effect off. So, you want to have 2 in the deck. Now, there are multiple ways to get this out of the deck. One cool play that you could do, that I did last night on stream, is if they Valor your Orphis Scorpio, and what you could do is then you could summon out your Amulets, which I'll show you is one of your fusions, and then you could tribute you can use your Amblo to tribute like any monster on your field to summon out Darling Tornado Cobra out of the deck and still search Super Poly even through the effect failure. Okay, so that's why I said you really want to run like optimally like 3 of everything, so that way you have the best possible hands to extend through hand traps as much as possible. That's also another good reason to do it. But yeah, Darling Tornado Cobra, most of the time they're going to effect failure this, and then Darling Tornado Cobra will go ahead and search the Super Poly there. So very, very good. Or Ultra Poly. Sometimes I do like this card, so sometimes you do want to play this, especially like if you run a Link package. I'll show you how this card can be good as we get through the video. Next, we're running 2 Saracarian. I didn't grind out for the 3rd yet, otherwise I'd play 3 of this. This card is absolutely insane. It's a hand trap that basically special summons itself in the hand when they declare a direct attack, and then when they attack this thing, their monster gets destroyed, and when this thing is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, then you can search any Predaplant card from deck to hand. Now keep in mind, this card is by card effect, so if you discard it off of Orphis Scorpio, you will not search. If you link summon with it, you will not search. This is why the next card I'm about to tell you is even better. But if you fusion summon with this thing, you will search. So think of it as like a Shaddoll. Shaddoll works the same way. They have to be sent by card effect. Next, we have Predaplant Bib Lisp. So Bib Lisp has the effect that if this card is sent to the graveyard, not even by card effect, you can add any Predaplant monster from deck to hand. So this could be sent by link summoning. This could be sent to the graveyard by just discarding it off of Orphis Scorpio. So you have a lot of ways to get this thing into the graveyard. So really, really good to just get this thing into the graveyard. Then being able to search any Predap monster from deck to hand is really, really good. This could search your Cervasariant. This could search your Clemissa Hydra, whatever you want. Even Orphis Scorpio if you haven't managed to summon it yet, but most of the time you will have summoned it by the time you're already using Lisp's effect. Now keep in mind that both Cervasariant and Lisp are both level 1, which is very important for what I'm going to tell you later on down the road. Now, next we are playing one copy of Hydra. So Hydra is really good because this card allows you to kaiju your opponent's monster with a Predaplant counter. And you're going to say, how am I going to counters on? Well, I'm going to explain really shortly. And the best way you're going to get Predap counters on your opponent's monsters is, I'm going to explain just very shortly. Which is most likely going to be your Predap Blast or with your skill. That also gets in you Predap counters. But basically, this is a free kaiju on your opponent's turn that summons into your field. And this card is also really good because this card allows you to play around IDP because its effect will allow you to banish a Predap card from your graveyard to make their monsters lose 500 attack and defense. Now, or your monsters, either monster on the field. Yeah, so you can target your own as well. So what's really good about this is that if they activate IDP, then you can use Hydra's effect and banish the target that they choose with the IDP. So for example, let's say you have a Drago Stapelia right on the field, right? You have Drago on the field, right? And it's a plant. So if you target a plant in your graveyard and you say, oh, well now I'm going to get IDP'd. Now I could use Hydra's effect to banish the plant you targeted, let's say Cervasariant, banish the Cervasariant, and then he can no longer banish me. Or I can use Hydra's effect to banish, let's say, another good play is you could, well, not another good play, but you could also use this while it's in the graveyard as well. So if this card's in the graveyard, it can also dodge IDP too. However, it's not as valuable when it's in the graveyard because the thing is, if your opponent's already thinking about it, they can just banish the Hydra instead because it can't banish itself. So more or less, you want it on the field to dodge IDP rather than in the graveyard. But if your opponent forgets, which they possibly could, that Hydra can activate in the graveyard, then maybe you activate something like your Predap Pruning to revive back a Predaplant in the graveyard, or your Fusion Recovery to target a Predaplant material in the graveyard. Then they go to use IDP on it, and then you chain your thing to banish that target anyway, so you keep your monster on the field. So that may be a way that you might want to bait out your opponent, but other than that, yeah. Really good card. You definitely want to play it in the deck. Next, we're running 3 okay, there's no, I'm calling it Clammy because there's no other way to really call it. So you want to run 3 Clammy. Basically, it has a few effects that are all really good. Monsters with a Predaplant counter that use their fusion material are treated as dark. So basically, if you give your opponent's monsters Predaplant counters, they're all dark. So that's a very good way. Now you may say, oh good, and out to Nightingale. Right, but you need to consistently out Nightingale and Robin. Now what's really good is that you can normal summon Clammy to as well to out Robin if you want him. And then you just have Nightingale to deal with. On top of that, there's a few ways. And then the second way is to activate your skill and then Hydra off the Robin. Which I'll get to the bird matchup and how I'm experimenting to deal with it. And that's what we're going to work on tonight. When we go to King Games, we're going to work on how to beat birds consistently. Because I think there are ways we can do it. So Clemissa Sundew allows us to treat all monsters with a Predaplant counter as dark. During the main phase, we can fusion summon a dark fusion monster. We're using this in monsters from our hand field. Or monsters with a Predaplant counter that our opponent controls as fusion material. So what's really good about this is that we could take their monsters and use them as fusion material. Because we're going to give them Predaplant counters. So that's really good. So when they turn into darks, when they get a Predaplant counter, then we can use their monsters as dark monsters. And it doesn't matter what attribute they are. Now, another thing is, the third effect is that you can use this card with any card on the hand field, with any card in your hand or field, or their monster, if it has a Predaplant counter on it, to fusion summon with. So that becomes really good, and you can only use that effective Chlamystus Undo once per turn. Next, we run Heliomorphicus. So this card allows us to special summon this to the field if our opponent controls a monster with a Predaplant counter, which you will, because they have a monster automatically on it once you give them a counter. You could, if this card is destroyed, you can target a Dark Dragon or plant in the graveyard and special summon it. So this can revive back Starving Venom, Dragon's Stapelia, any one of your Predaplant fusions if it's summoned properly. So, good extender as well. Could be used to make your Nightmare Phoenix to help you get out your Ningirsu play, which will help out the Nightingale. I'll explain that later. Next, we run Ultra Polymerization. So this card is very, very good in my opinion. The reason why I think this is good is because if you go second and you open up like Orphis Scorpio, then this will allow you to gain access to fusion summoning immediately and really putting a bold thing on the field, then reviving for 2, and potentially also helping you make like a Ningirsu on top of that fusion monster as well, because those 2 monsters you revive could be Nightmare Phoenix, and then special summon like a level 1 to make Linkuriboh into Ningirsu. That could be a play that can help you out get there, but there's a lot of ways that you can get there without this card, so don't ever feel like you need it. Also, potentially you're gonna probably want to set up Super Poly as well on top of that. So like I said, Ultra Poly is a 1-of in this deck. You could search it, you can't. It's also good going first. It's also quite good going first, because going first you can use this card to make like a double Drago Stapelia plus a Super Poly if you wanted to, but it's not necessarily needed to do that. Next, we play Super Polymerization. This card is just really good because all their monsters are going to be treated as dark most of the time. There's a lot of dark decks in the meta, like Borlo Dragon. That's a dark deck. Shadol is a dark deck. That's in the meta. But other than that, if we want to resolve Super Poly, we could just use like Chlamystus Undo to summon ourselves to the field. And then when we get Chlamystus Undo plus Predaplant, which I'll describe in a minute, we could just change all their monsters to dark anyway. So that's not really a big issue at all. Most of the time, unless they're untargetable with something like Bird, then it could get a little bit more complex and complicated, but yeah. Next, we run Predaplant. So this card is very, very good. It special summons a Predaplant monster from her end and adds a Predap from her deck to her end. So again, this is very, very good because again, if we open up Orphis Scorpio, we could search this, special summon out Orphis Scorpio, add Biblisp, and then after we add Biblisp, then we can use Orphis Scorpio on a brand new chain to discard Biblisp, summon out Darling Tonia Cobra, then activate Biblisp's effect to search a Predaplant. And at that point, you can even decide to search out your Cerasariant, normal to Cerasariant, fusion summon with the Darling Cobra, the Poly, and whatever you want, and then make Ambulo, and then use Ambulo to search. I'll describe that all coming up. Next, we play one Fusion Recycling Plant. This card is very good. Discards 1 card, adds a Polymerization from deck to end. Keep in mind, this could also search Substitute because it's always treated as Poly. So you can add this from deck to end, and then during the end phase, you target 1 monster to the graveyard that was used as fusion material for a fusion summon this turn. Add it to your end. So this card could add back your Cerasariant if you use it as a fusion material, which is very, very good recovery because having this in the hand could win you a lot of games. Also, Biblisp, I didn't go over, has a really good effect in the graveyard. If there's a monster in the field with a Predicator, you can summon this to your field, which is really, really good because what you can do is like another play that possibly you could do is like if you open up Orphis in this, you can like discard this and then use Orphis to summon your Darlington Cobra, and then use Biblisp to summon itself back from the graveyard. They're going to have a counter on it if you discarded it already, and then get your Kaiju later on if you don't need to Kaiju immediately. It really depends. It really depends. There's still more experimentation going on to try to experiment even more. But there's a lot of plays you can do. This is just like telling you that there's a lot of plays you can do. Next. And remember that you may say, well, what about Robin if you do that play? Well, the thing is like with Robin, Then bouncing back monsters that you summon out of the deck is not necessarily a bad thing, because you have your deck is relying on fusion summoning, which means the monsters in your hand may not be as relevant to be in the hand as being on the field as much as you would think, because fusion summoning can be done out of the hand. Now, next is Fusion Substitute. This basically allows you to fuse on the field, like polymerization, but field only. But the nice thing about this is you can banish this card from grave to field to grave. From your graveyard to return one fusion monster from graveyard to the deck, and then draw a card, which is really good in the case of using something like your Ambulo. So if this thing hits in the graveyard with your main combo, you recycle this and then draw a card. Next, we run Predaplant. This basically revives Predaplant for the graveyard. Nothing really to say about that. Fusion Recovery adds a poly and a fusion material. Uses fusion summon from grave to hand. Then we play 3 copies of Predablast. This card is very good. Reveals any amount of Predaps from your hand to place counters on your monsters equal to the amount of Predap cards you revealed. Also, any level 2 or higher monsters become level 1. So this is very good, because if you face an Exceed-centric deck, or you think they're going to make an Exceed summon, this could stop their play. For example, if you go up against something like Shark or Seraph, you activate Predablast, and then for that situation, all their monsters become 1, and they're kind of in a really weird position. So like I said, making them level 1 can mess up their whole Exceed play. So that's automatically good. But the main reason why you want to play this is because this gives you Predap counters, which works alongside your Sundew, because they're all Sundew will be on the field. Their monsters will be dark, which means you could super poly into anything you want to. So automatically really, really good. Also, once it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to protect your monsters from being destroyed. Now, again, what's really, really good about something like this is obviously to make a super poly play, but also it gives you the protection in the graveyard as well, so it can protect your Drago and whatever not. Yeah. And then Predaponics allows you to special summon a Predaplant from your hand or graveyard level 4 or lower, but it has its effects negated. But you can do this every turn, but you have to pay 800 life points per turn to keep this on the field. Now, next, the extra deck. In the extra deck, we run, hold on, give me 1 second. We run 2 copies of Dragostapelia. So basically, it takes a fusion in the dark, and then once per turn, you can target 1 monster on your opponent's field, give it a Predaplant counter, and if you do, negate the activated effects of your opponent's monsters that have a Predaplant counter. Now, keep in mind with Dragostapelia, very important, if you tribute said monster, they will get to activate the effects. So like if they dodge it as a cost, it will activate. The reason why is because it will no longer have a Predaplant counter, and then their monster can activate its effects. So something like a Shivanui Solitaire, a Shivanui Spectral Sword Shade, those will activate. So keep that in mind. Lone Fire Blossom as well, so keep that in mind. Alright? But also what's really good with this is that if you use Dragostapelia in combination with your Predablast, you could potentially negate a whole board of monsters, because all their monsters will have Predaplant counters, and this will negate every monster effect with a Predator counter. So very, very good. So like if they have 3 monsters on their field, and you want to negate all 3 of them, you can. Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, we're only playing 1 of, and I have 3 of it. It's not because I don't have more than 1. The reason why we're only playing 1 of this is because the extra deck space is really tight with birds. If this card is fusion summon, you make this card gate attack equal to 1 special summon monster opponent controls. Once per turn, we target 1 level 5 or higher monster our opponent controls until the end of this turn. This card's name, and replace this card's effect with its original effects. If this card fusion summon card is destroyed, we can destroy all special summon monsters our opponent controls. So if they destroy it, we blow up all their special summon monsters. Most of the things that your opponent summons are special summon, so we'll take advantage of that department. Also, this can gain the effects of your opponent's monster, which is really, really good. Level 5 or higher. I mean, there's not really too many things in the meta that you would copy. You could copy something like a Furious Dragon if you wanted to, and then blow up one of your monsters, and then, yeah, use that. The only thing is, like, they're going to summon something. It really won't be able to work like that, because they're going to use Rapid Trigger, and then they'll be unaffected by you, so that's not really going to really work. So, most of the time, the second part of the effect isn't coming up. The majority of the time you're using this because it's easy to summon, and it can go for OTK, gaining the attack, and doesn't target, and that's what it's really good for. But there might be a niche time when this comes up, maybe in the mirror match, that you could really take benefit of this effect. Next, we want 1 Chimera Rafflesia. This card is good to OTK your opponent as well. Basically, you target one monster with a lower level on the level less or equal to this card in the field, then banish it. When an attack is declared involving this card in the face of monster, you can make this card gain 1,000 attack, and your opponent's monster lose 1,000 attack. So that's essentially an extra 2,000 damage over what your opponent would do. So that's really good for killing your opponent. Then we run one Ambulance Melodies. So this card is absolutely fantastic. It's the best fusion in the deck. On summon, it adds one Predaplant monster or Predaplant spell or trap from deck or grave or extra deck to our hand. There is no pendulums in the game yet. You target one monster with your opponent controls with a Predaplant counter, or one monster you attribute it and special summon a Predaplant in the deck. Again, if you want to put a Predaplant counter on your opponent's monster, you could summon Ambulance Melodies going second, and then tribute their monster to use to summon a Predaplant out of the deck, which is absolutely insane. But most of the time, you're going to be tributing your own monsters. Sometimes there will be situations where you will tribute theirs, but most of the time, we are tributing our own. Next, we are running Nightingale. Nightingale is here because it is a level 1, and you want to make this turn 1 against Bird because this allows you to survive and then set up Ningirsu. So, yeah, you definitely want to play Nightingale. It's very easy to make because we have a bunch of level 1s in the deck. Then we run Ningirsu, Link Karibo, and Nightmare Phoenix. Nightmare Phoenix is good because the deck does not have inherent back row removal, which is one of the big downsides of it. It really doesn't deal with back row too well. So keep that in mind. You might have to use like fusion summoning and try to bait out your opponent, but Nightmare Phoenix is really good for that. But yeah, okay, let's get into some replays. Enjoy the replays, and remember, if you want to see the cog run tonight, please follow me on Twitch or YouTube. Subscribe to me over there, and I will let you know exactly when I'm going to go live. I will post a post on it on YouTube, and I will, for all my YouTube followers and subs, and I will post a post on Discord if you are following me on, if you are a part of the Discord. YouTubers, I got to get a link over there. So if you haven't been on the Discord, let me get you a link, so that way you guys can get on the Discord and be there, get active there. Okay. With that being said, here we go.
I don't need anyone. Duel.
Here I go. I'll enjoy. Predaplant Saracenian from my hand. Fusion summon. Appear level 5 Predaplant Ambulo. Saris Ambulo Melodis' effect activates when it's fusion summoned. I activate Ambulo Predaplant. I use Chlamydia Sundu's fusion summon. Go level 8 Predaplant Dragostapelia. I activate my spell card. I activate the spell. I fusion summon a monster. Here comes. From my hand, I activate my spell card. And that's
It's my
that.
turn.
I'm
From
ending
my
my turn.
hand, I activate a continuous spell. Lunalight and Lunalight.
Dragostapelia activates its effect.
I set the pendulum. I activate Lunalight. Lunalight, yellow. Come here. Link summon. I activate my monk.
I activate my quick play spell. Predaplant.
I set the pendulum. I activate Lunalight. Show yourself. I exceed summon a monk. I activate my monk. I set the pendulum. I activate Lunalight. I create a new appear.
I activate the quick play spell. My plants have never been more ravenous. I'll graft these together to create a You're no match for this toxic predator. Arise, Starving Venom Fusion Dragon! Fusion summoning starting.
I end my
Would you
turn.
like to see how... from my hand, I activate my spell card. Predaplant level. I activate the spell card. I fusion summon a bot. Here comes Predaplant Opris. I activate Chimera Flesia's effect. I can't wait to hear you
I gave...
I'll enjoy. Duel. I'll be. I activate the spell Predaplant Opera Scorpio by summoning up now. I activate my monsters. Lisp's effect activates when it's sent. I activate the spell card. I fusion summon a monster. Appear. Ambulomelodis's effect activates when I activate Predaplant Darlingtonia. A Predaplant's effect special summons Predaplant Club. I fusion summon a monster. Go live. I guess I'm here's what I activate. Dragostopelia activates its effect. I'm going. I activate my set card. Sure. I activate my ready for. I activate my plants have never been more rabid. You're no match for this toxic. I activate. It's fun. Now go. And would you like? And it's now. Sure. From my ice, I activate my spell card. I activate my quick play spell. Predaplant set. I activate the spell card. I fusion summon a bot. Here comes. Saracenian activates its effect. Level. I banish Dros. I activate Chimera Flesia. One. Direct attack. Yeah! I'll be nice.
Duel! Hit from my hand? I activate a continuous. I'm bringing this. Come on out! I activate my monster's effect. You
guess I
stronger
can
than
try
this?
I'll be
Then
nice.
show me. I end my turn.
I'll enjoy. Predaplant up by summon. Predaplant Hitless. A Predaplant's effect special summons Darlingtonia Cobra.
Too bad.
I activate the spell card. I fusion summon a monster. Appear. Ambulomelodis's effect activate. I activate Predaplant Club from my hand. I activate my spell card. I activate the spell card. I fusion summon a monster. Go level.
Too bad. I'm bringing this Get a load of this.
And
Here goes.
that.
I
ending my
activate my monster's effect.
I activate my quick play spell. I don't think so. I activate my set card.
Come
I
on
activate
out.
my quick play
Time
spell.
to drink. I activate my Come on. I activate it. Come on out. I build the. I'm bringing this. I activate my monsters effect. I activate. Take this.
Predaplant,
You wait a
Saracenian activates its effect.
You're in for a. You're
I've
tough.
never lost a duel.
I
I activate the spell card. Predaplant, Clamina Sundew. I activate the equip spell. Appear. Level 5. I use my plants have never been more pure. Fusion summoning star Predaplant. Bib. I activate Ambulance Predaplant. Biblisp's effect activates when it's.
Oh,
I
here
was
goes.
willing to end you
I'm
painlessly.
bringing this
but not anymore.
Get a load of
end
Come
my
on
turn.
out. I link summon. I activate. Get a look. I activate my
I I'm go. Your duel. I'll be nice. I activate my quick play spell. Predaplant. I activate the spell card. Predaplant Opera Scorpio. By summoning Dragostapelia activates its effect. Level. Feast your eye. I fusion summon a monster. Appear. Ambulomelodis's effect activates. I activate my I activate Predaplant. I activate Predaplant. Biblisp's effect activates when it's sent Predaplant. I use I fusion summon a monster. Here comes. I activate my quick. My plants have never been more pure. Predaplant. I activate the spell card. My plants have never been more pure. No. Fusion summoning Saracenian activates its effect. One final strike to finish. Yeah! That was a lot quicker than I thought it would.
Alright, YouTube. There you go. So that is the replays for Predaplant. So if you want to see the deck in action, make sure you subscribe to YouTube. Check out the community post because I'm going to post tonight where I go live, and also my Discord as well, because that way you guys can join there. And for everybody who follows me on Twitch, you can either check the YouTube community post or just check the Discord. You will notify, but it should be around 7:30 EST. So yes. Until next time, this is your boy Sean Matrai saying bye, YouTube.